Step into your power, feel it rise. No more hiding, no more compromise. You're the light, you're the spark, burning bright. This is your moment, this is your...
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Connection Currency. I'm really excited to have you here today and excited to chat to a lovely friend of mine. In a world full of noise and hustle, I believe that real growth comes from connection. It's not performance. And with this in mind, the Connection Currency was developed or just actually happened. There's no right or wrong polished answers. I just want everything to be authentic. I'm curious about what's behind business, what lights up business owners. Some of us are growing quietly. Some of us are tired. Some of us are succeeding beyond our wildest dreams, but still doubting ourselves. I'm hoping that by creating an aligned community that feels supported and connected and empowered, that everyone will connect and collaborate with others here in a really true, authentic way. Um, the connection currency, it's like networking that we do when we're outside in the real world, outside of our online world. And it's not about just shoving our business cards. It's about getting down and finding out what makes businesses tick and what we can all learn from. So with that in mind, I would like to welcome my beautiful friend, Bianca Stawiarski. Hope I got that right. I can never get that right. And I just want to say hi and welcome, Bianca.
Baranimata, hello.
Brownie Marta. I love that. So Bianca will talk us through, but Bianca is an Indigenous Ukrainian woman. So she's a pretty powerful force on her own. So Bianca, like let's talk about when you started your business. At what moment did you realize I'm in business? I'm doing this, it's happening, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, thank you. I actually I fell into business. I think a lot of us do, don't they? I fell into business. I had a situation where I had retired from over 2 decade career in the Commonwealth Government, and I went, "Oh, I'm going to retire." I was 42. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to read lots, all of those kinds of things. Anyway, so in February 2015, I retired. And then in September 2015, I separated from my husband. And I suddenly went, oh my gosh, I've got 2 kids, a mortgage, no job. What am I going to do? And I had 3 people in one day. This is about that sort of relationship and connection. I had 3 people in one day saying to me, this thing that you just have been doing voluntary for years, how you sort of help people and you listen and things like that. And they said, maybe you should do this as a business. And I'm one of those people that I'm a jump in, boots forward, just take it on. I went, maybe I should. So that day I started my business, and I didn't realize quite how hard that I would need to work to, the skills from my government role were really helpful. I could write, I could strategize, I could plan, I could budget, I could read a financial statement, all of those things. So those things were really great. But that not having any money and not starting with any money makes it really difficult. But I tell you what, I realized that I was actually made to be in business. I suddenly had this freedom to do things my way and be absolutely unapologetic about that.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think that key freedom is one of the things that we all discover when we go into business, even though it's hard slog. Just having that freedom, but the scary thing, you're making the decisions as well along the way. So to tell me, what lights you up in business? Like what part of your work gives you that energy? We all have really bad days, and we face huge challenges. What keeps you going? What lights you up? What gives you that energy?
Yeah, I'm probably slightly different. I I get up every day and I go, what do I get to do today? I really love what I do. What lights me up is seeing I'm a therapist, okay? So I integrate Indigenous knowledges with clinical qualifications and a trainer and lots of different things. But what I love to see is when someone comes to me and is brave enough, firstly, to reach out and then says, you know, you're the first person that's really listened to me. You're the first person that's heard me. And then I hear them say that to other people. You know, you're not actually broken. You're golden and whole inside. You just got to dig through the muck. And I just go, yes. Or when I hear an NDIS participant say to their support coordinator and to the people that are servicing them, you know, I pay your salary.
Mm.
And you need to understand that I am the expert in my life, not you. And those are the things. Because what happens when women are, especially I mainly work with women, when women are empowered, when women finally get realize that they're not too much,
Mm.
they're too not too fat, too thin, too loud, too quiet, too whatever, then their children see that the way that they're stepping into their life and remembering who they are, then their partners see that, then their families, their wider families and their communities. What lights me up is this is not about a job for me. This is about driving community change. And when I see every single person that I've helped then also support other people,
Yeah.
that's what gets me going through my unending email list or, you know, those tweaking my website or all of those really things that I find quite boring.
Yeah.
That's the bit. That's the bit that I just I'm so honoured to do what I do. It is, and then I realise I'm not about to float my, but I'm really good at what I do. And I think that's the important part. The important part is that I can sit with people's deep pain and listen to some truly horrific stories
Mm.
and someone's there walking alongside them. And I
Yeah.
guess for me, that's why I can step into these spaces because I just see the goldenness in all of this. Somebody has to do it. Someone has to be brave enough to walk alongside another person and see them in their pain. And I guess that's it sounds a little warped, but that's kind of what I really love to do.
Yeah. Changing lives and changing the community and the people around them. I mean, giving them that confidence and self-esteem that, you know, they start owning it enough that they're sharing it with others.
Yeah.
That's like that snowball. It's not even a trickle effect, it's a snowball effect. It just goes on and builds from there, and it does. It builds stronger communities. And when people can be vulnerable, and I think that's what you draw out of people is that vulnerability, if they can be vulnerable about, you know, what's actually upsetting them and where they're at, it can help them understand themselves, and it can help them then understand others and have empathy and compassion and be vulnerable with others, and they then in turn be vulnerable with them. And I've seen you in action, and I do love that about you too. um,
Even if I'm not on, I'm on.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you live it and breathe it. So, and that's what I love about you. And I think that's also when you love what, you know, I say it often, you love what you do, you never work another day in your life. But if
Absolutely.
you also love what you do, you fully you live it, you breathe it. It's ingrained in you. Yeah, yeah. And I love that about you, and that it's not just a sweetness, it's a deeper connection that you make with people. So talking about connection, sort of who's helped you along the way? How have you made connections? How have you made authentic connections? Because we can all just,
Oh,
make connections, get LinkedIn connections, whatever else. How do you make those authentic connections, and what's it meant to you? Like, has it been mentors or peers or your community? Like, how could you tell others that they could go about it, to make those more authentic connections?
yeah. I think I really love collaborations. I have specifically tried to stay small in number for me,
Mm.
but collaborate with other amazing businesses, especially either female founded or Indigenous businesses.
Yeah.
And I'm really particular about the networks that I choose because I have I don't talk about it, but I have a hidden disability that
Mm.
most people don't know, right? And that's not, I don't talk about it because it's not what defines me.
Mm.
But I've only got a finite amount of energy and I
Yeah.
have considerably less energy than others. I might not seem like it because I really love what I do, but talk to me after 5:30 at night and I'm forget it. You won't get anything sense, of any sense out of
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But I start really early in the morning because I'm a morning person. So I try and be really intentional about the connections that I make and the networks that I access. I I joined in. I actually volunteer coordinated Black Coffee in Adelaide for a while. Now, Black Coffee is an Indigenous business
Yep.
networking event, and I remember at one stage that there was this fella sitting on, and I'll give you a story because we learn in stories. There was a
Yeah.
fella
Yeah.
sitting on the
Absolutely.
table, and myself and one of the other ladies, we go, oh, who's that? And we said, well, this table's reserved for black coffee, and he goes, yeah, no, that's why I'm here. Anyway, what I didn't realize that was going to be one of the most significant connections that I had made entrepreneurially um, in my entire journey.
Mm.
We realized that we actually flow really well together, this fella and me.
Mm.
I love how he is in his business. And so we collaborate all the time. We've actually co founded a charity, Indigenous led charity,
Wow.
um, together because
Yeah.
we actually balance each other really nicely. And, you know, I love facilitating with him. So, so black coffee, I get exposed to, lots of really small Indigenous businesses and allies that are doing really transformative things in their community.
Mm.
I've,
Mm.
of course, gone through the mumpreneurs and Oz mums and things like that. That's how I've met you. And
Yep.
that's how I met
Yep.
eh, one of your guests, Justine.
Well, I've had a few Osmums that I've recorded. So, and not all of them I met at Osmum. So that's always interesting. It comes back to we end up in the same rooms sometimes, people who are meant to be together.
Absolutely. And so that I really love. I'm also a member of the International Women's Forum of Australia, and there's some incredible women that are just doing amazing things in their communities. So I'm really, really intentional.
Mm.
I'm members of, like my local business chamber of commerce. But you know what? I've never been to one event because
Yeah.
I'm tired and yeah, and so I do keep things quite small and intentional. I think you could fill yourself up with all these activities and all these networks and things like that. I think those beautiful people come into your space when you're ready for them.
Mm.
My family, I know this sounds a bit swanky. My family is my biggest support. My dad reads everything I write, and you know, he puts forward me for things that I, even if I'm not necessarily interested in doing them. But he's my biggest advocate. My kids are too,
Yeah.
and I think that those things help because you know what? but it also needs to be an internal thing too,
Mm,
because no one outside of you is going to get you up when you're tired.
yeah.
No one outside of you is going to move. So I actually, for me, my biggest connection and network is my place on country, my
Mm,
cultural identity. I look out here, I'm very intentional about what I put
yeah.
in my space because this builds me. I look out over the valley and through the trees. That holds me. So that's
Yeah.
one of
And
my biggest networks is
and that
country and culture
it's a
and
beautiful place where you are. That is absolutely so true. I'm yet to see a koala. I looked hard for them, but they were
and then
all
not long
asleep
after
when I
you were,
came
there
there.
was a koala.
I know, they were all asleep.
But yeah, so I think it
Yeah.
understanding that connection and networks are not just human. They can be country and animals, and I guess a lot of people would call me a hermit anyway, because I actually really like my own company and I like thinking
Mm,
time, and that's for me another connection space too, knowing who I am and
mm.
what drives me. But yeah, so Ozmum, IWF, and black coffee are probably three of the biggest.
Yeah,
Um, and as you know, that beautiful chat that we have between you, me, and Justine,
I
it's
know.
it's a little check-in.
Yep.
And we're all busy, we're all entrepreneurs, we're all doing incredible things in our fields, and just having that check-in is
Yeah.
super cool. And
Yeah.
knowing that
Having
people are thinking of you. Yeah.
Yeah, and having people who support you and it's like when we haven't heard from you for a while, I was like, oh, I'm going to give her a few more days and then I'm going to go, hey, is everything okay? Because it is like I find it's important, yeah, and having good support systems around you, even though, and I'm the same. What do they call it? I think they call it ambivert or something. I'm an introverted, extroverted introvert or something.
That's
It
what I
came
am
up on my
too.
personality testing because you know, like some time ago when we were all just in our own little world, I was more than happy to just sit and write. I felt everybody was gate crashing my world on the Zooms because I've been doing Zooms since it came out. Um, but but yeah, I quite like that and I like that space and
Mm.
you're the same. I think we all have that. The three of us probably in common that we get out there, we go full on, we're on when we're on, and then when we want that downtime and we're off, we just want our space. And Justine does the same. She does it with art. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, and I love that connection, which was just and that was just purely like organic the way that all
Oh,
happened.
or
Um,
is it? Was it organic? Or was it ancestor led?
Yeah, well, it wasn't like intentional. It wasn't
No.
like I need to meet that person.
Mm-mm.
They'll accelerate my work or business, or I need to be, just excuse me just a moment. I hear people say it all the time at networking things. Excuse me just a moment. I have got to talk to that person. It's like,
Oh,
that person is on LinkedIn and everywhere else, and the minute
and
you
I'm
step
in front of you.
you're there in front of them, and that's okay. But when they do that, it's like they're missing that opportunity. It's like you might have missed that opportunity with that gentleman sitting on the table. And like I've been to Black Coffee, but the funny thing is when I walk in, they know me, so they don't ever go, "Are you in the right place?" Because boy, am I fair. So they never sort of they never look at me and go, "Oh, are you in the right place?" Because they know, that, working with a lot of different Indigenous businesses, it's just somebody's invited me, and that's why I usually rock up because it's usually somebody who's said to me, "You need to come to this next thing. We're going to be talking about funding, and people need to be able to ask you questions or whatever." But I love that connection that we had because when you say ancestor driven, it was like yeah, yeah. Like I was right up until the last minute, am I going to go? And then I just booked tickets and went, yes, I'm going. Like that was that was last minute for me. It was probably about a month out or something that I just booked everything and went. And we had met, like, and I don't know if you remember, but I handed out a lot of Indigenous awards one year at Osmum, and we had met and done this big hug with a group of us. I think I've got a photo of where we're hugging on stage, and I'm giving you your award, you know. Um, and then we just went off and did our own things. And then you reached out and said, is anybody else going into London early? And I was like, yep, I am. And Justine did the same thing. And you altered your plans, which I just went, like, I kept saying to my hubby, like, oh my gosh, this woman's altering her plans for me. Like, and I'm like, if you want to go, just go. If you can't, like the two of you, if you can't get that day, but you altered your plans, included me, and I just loved that. And then off we
And
went.
what
And
an adventure we had.
yeah, what there's a book there.
PhD finished. I need to get my PhD finished first.
There's some stories there. Whether we're going to share all of those. But yeah, and we connected over a lot of different things, even made a friend on the bus that day. Um, yeah,
It's those, but it's
but
those
it's like, how
little
did that come
pieces, aren't
about?
they?
How did that come
Yeah.
about? Yeah, because like I had looked at the others who were going and figured we'll probably all just hang out together, that you group, and I thought I'll try to get to know the others, but if everybody's riding, and you were madly riding there too,
Yes.
so if everybody, because you'd been to Cambridge or something, one of the
Yeah, I
unis.
went to Cambridge for an
Yeah,
elder asked me to go and look at some Torres Strait Islander content that was probably stolen, I would
yeah,
suggest.
yeah.
And he hadn't ever seen the original. And he was
Mm,
writing, I think at that point, his master's or part of his PhD on that ancestor of his. And I went in and and spoke to the old fella that was there that was writing those words at that time
mm,
and sent him copies of it. And it was really important. So I went and did that piece because I was asked to by an elder um and yeah, and then we just caught
yeah,
up and I just think it's those little pieces that
yeah,
we were thrown together because we all just wanted to make the most of it and go on a little adventure. And then
yeah,
we realized that we actually really got along quite well, all very different, but so much
yeah,
so similar as well.
yeah.
Um, and and the rest is history.
History, it
And
is,
when
it
when
is.
you've got someone in your back pocket, when you've got other sisters cheering you on,
Yeah,
and going, what connection can I make for you? Or
yeah,
what can I do? Or what can I share of yours? You
mm,
know,
mm.
those things that's golden, but
It
that's
is.
authentic. And I
Yeah,
know we use those words authentic. You know, I look at it, I'm the same whether I'm sitting in a room or in a space listening to your pain and grief, or whether I'm out having a laugh. I'm the same person, and I think actually all three of us are.
mm,
I think we are. We just walk in our space, and we are unapologetic about who we are. We
yeah,
don't need to pretend,
mm,
and so I think if I can encourage the people that are listening, if there's one thing that you take it, well, two things: love what you do,
yeah,
and the second one is actually cultivate those connections, those
mm,
networks, those special ones, not just the million LinkedIn friends
yeah,
or Facebook friends or whatever. Cultivate those really special ones in the sense of when you have a connection with someone, a genuine connection, and
mm,
invest that time because it's that ngalami yugaja we give to each other. It's
yeah,
reciprocity. It just
yes,
comes and goes and flows, and that's the beautiful part. But don't pretend, don't be someone you're not.
mm,
I'm the first to say, oh, look, I'm really tired today.
yeah,
That's okay.
yeah. Yeah. We all, God, I'm tired these days. I'm old and I'm tired. But I'm like, I still want things that light me up and excite me in my life. So yeah. So tell me,
Warida.
Warida Holistic Wellness and BilaEmpower. Like, okay, so they're two different businesses. What happens in both of those businesses?
Yeah. So Warida Holistic Wellness, Warida means wedge-tailed eagle in Badimia, which is my Aboriginal language. And I set up Warida. I started as a sole trader, as you all do, because I had no money,
Mm,
under a different name. And then I transitioned it to Warida Holistic Wellness. All things mental health and well-being, training, individual sessions, yarning circles, just lots of different things. It's international. I'm a certified social enterprise and certified supply nation business,
mm,
and I generally help women rediscover who they are.
mm.
Step
And
back into their inner fire all
yeah,
over the world. And I
yeah.
fell into that international space just because someone asked me if I wanted to do something, and I went, "Oh, that sounds kind of interesting,
Mm,
maybe." And then it just kept going and snowballing. So mental health, all things mental health and well-being,
mental health. Yep.
and I'm also really love supporting um, female entrepreneurs and Indigenous entrepreneurs in that really early startup stage.
Mm,
I don't do the business side in the sense of business structure, those kinds of things. Anyone
yeah,
can do that. I look at what is your blockages, what's stopping you, what's your mindset around that in that early stage when everything seems
yeah,
all overwhelming and you don't really know.
yeah.
So I love to work in that space because you know what, when people successful and they're charging their own worth and things like that, then they
Mm,
change the circumstance for their families and communities. So, and it's a for-profit business,
yeah.
a company structure. And then, but what I realized over time is that I'm small and I didn't really want to get big. Okay. So I
Yep.
bring in lots of contractors in,
Yep.
great. But I didn't want to have lots of employees.
Mm.
And then I thought about myself and that fella that I met, Todd. It's pretty cool. Like
He's
his
pretty
wife
cool.
too. She's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were yarning one day and we said, what about, we've got all these small private practices in mental health and well-being. And but they're all too small to contract with these big like government and
Mm,
things like that. They're all too small to deliver a large service. What would happen if we created a collaborative? And then we started thinking about it, and we worked with some Torrens University MBA students who
yeah.
who developed a plan for us, and they said, "Well, we recommend that you have a separate structure because government only wants to contract with one person."
Yeah.
Anyway, so BilaEmpower, Bila means sky in Buddy Meyer. And I originally just wanted to call the organisation Bila, but there's someone in WA called Billa, which is rather annoying. So we called BilaEmpower, but Billa for short. Everyone just calls
Yeah.
us Billa. Anyway, and that's mental health and well-being. Mainly, we basically we want to be Australia's leading Indigenous-led employee assistance program provider.
Mm,
And at the moment, we've got 14 private practices that all Indigenous private practices that all subcontract into us, and it's a collaborative.
yeah.
And we're a charity structure, so we've got DGR status and things like that. And so yeah, so really that's what we do. But
Mm,
and we're far exceeding the national EAP benchmarks for helpfulness and being heard and that kind of thing, quality of
mm,
counselling.
mm.
So it's we started in February 24, Billa, and it's just exploded. Uh,
Yeah.
People are talking about us in a positive way.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and so that's really exciting. And we thought if we had a charity structure and each of us are mainly either sole traders or company structures, for-profit company structures,
Yeah.
then we would have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, and it works well. And I love the fact that everybody brings their own thing to the table, so that um and and actually, as somebody who writes loads of tenders, government loves collaboratives, that somebody steps up and says, "Okay, I'm in charge and this is a collaborative," because and they are even more aware of it, of how agile small businesses are now, and how if something happens and one of those small businesses falls over, if you've got a collaborative, usually the collaborative want to keep the project going, so they all form around there. So I love that. I love that you're small enough to be close to the people you're working with, but you can deliver those larger projects that government needs. So um, you're not disassociating yourself with the real world, and I love that you're connected, and I'm sure you will be Australia's, if not the world's largest Indigenous organisation.
You know what? I think we possibly could,
Yeah.
because everyone is interested, and the Indigenous, the small private practices are really, we're like a family.
Mm,
You know,
mm,
Todd talks about this. We're actually a family.
yeah.
Most people can't say that when they're a subcontractor to a large organisation that they're a family. But we
Yeah.
actually, the majority of our fee for service stuff goes to the clinician who delivers the service, the
Mm,
specialist service. And
mm,
we're proud of that. And
yeah.
and it's really, yeah, it's something really quite unique. We're shifting the
Mm.
model on what
Yeah,
EAP can look
exactly,
like.
exactly. And like, who says whatever model that they've existingly got is any good? And we've all seen cases, and we've just talked about cases that that existing model isn't working. Something needs to change. There needs to. I love disruptors. I love
Yes.
anybody who's a disruptor. I'm usually quite drawn to disruptor entrepreneurs, because they're the ones who will change the world. They'll make the world a better place. So they'll make it something different. They're not doing this is what we do because we've always done it that way. What says that
No.
because we've always done it that way, we should continue that way. So,
And
yeah,
and we are 100% disruptors in the
yeah,
sense that, and pushing back and
yeah,
advocating and
yeah,
saying, no, this isn't just a standard EAP service. We're actually a specialist service, and we are bringing so many skills into that. You're not just getting a standard service. We're gold standard, really.
gold standard. Yeah, absolutely. Well,
And
you'll be setting the
yeah,
standard. That's what it is.
yeah, we are.
You will be resetting the standard. So NDIS people, you support them through both organisations?
We support NDIS. I support NDIS through Warida, but pretty much all of our clinicians support NDIS participants through their own private practices.
Yeah,
Uh, in in um, in Billa, we normally prefer that sort of short term, because then we can support more people. And
yeah,
NDIS is a lot longer
mm,
term in that
yeah,
sense. And also, we're talking about being disruptors. I actually think NDIS hurts people,
mm,
and I think that when a plan can change, and then someone is suddenly improving, and then they're told, no, you don't deserve as much therapeutic support, and
mm,
then suddenly they're now having to go back onto medication because all the symptoms are coming back. And
mm,
I actually find that very, very hard navigating this big system that I understand
mm.
was oversubscribed from the
Yep,
moment it was created.
yeah,
But there could have been a great opportunity. So Billa stays out of the NDIS space,
yep,
but each of the contractors in their own way
mm,
support participants. But
yeah,
probably Warrida won't, once 2027 comes round, because I don't want to be registered. I'm currently an unregistered provider
yeah,
for NDIS,
yeah,
and while I love the support, and I know in particular one of my one of the people I support, who's an NDIS participant, I will continue probably free of charge supporting them because
Wow.
I've worked with them for 5 years.
Yeah.
So I can't, just because I don't want to go through the process and
Yeah.
fill out the forms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Step away from them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that connection's important, isn't it? And
absolutely.
like, and how many probably make those connections, you know? Yeah, there's
I
probably
still
not.
have I still have participants who have had their plans, like their therapeutic space stopped years later, still send me emails.
Yeah.
Just wanted to check in, wanted to show you how we're doing. And I
Yeah.
just think that's beautiful because that, connection currency, that's what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And building that powerful community that they valued that you so much that they still, like connecting all that time later.
Yeah.
So how would people work with you in both different organizations or both the organizations? How
So,
do people find you? How do they contact you? I'll
yeah.
share your links and things like that.
Yeah,
Um,
obviously I've got a website,
yeah,
socials. I love to write, follow some of the, academia, Orchid ID, all my writings that I've been doing. Basically, they just need to reach out.
mm,
Contact me via my website's probably the easiest way. Reach
yeah,
out. Warida is more longer term.
yeah,
I want to develop a relationship, a really strong focused relationship and support people through that space.
yeah.
And they can be anywhere in the world, just not the US and Canada because my insurance doesn't cover US and Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Because to be a therapist in the US, you need to reside there to meet the requirements.
Yeah.
But everywhere else in the world, I've got a cohort in the UK and things like
Yeah.
that. Anyway, so Warrida, if they're looking for a longer term relationship, therapeutic relationship, or training or things like that, I create customized training for people. Then they can contact me that way. If they're looking for an EAP service that is next level best practice,
Yeah.
gold standard, the one that you want for your organisation, reach out.
Yeah.
Reach out through Billa. Same thing
Yeah.
through the email, through the website.
The
Just
bill
reach
is more for the larger organizations that might
out.
have,
Large or
um,
small.
yeah, or small, exactly. Organizations that might have, they might be trying to navigate psychosocial safety and anxiety or things that their clients,
Burnouts.
their employees are going through. Burnout is a big thing.
Mm,
So really good
grief and loss.
employers who want to support their teams, because we all know how expensive it is to retrain a really good staff member that you've had for a long time.
Absolutely.
And we never want to lose those good people because something's going on in their lives. So that would be BilaEmpower. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, as you said, they lose skilled, knowledgeable people.
Yeah.
And that's it's so expensive. I mean, there's heaps of research on what happens, and we get brought in. We don't just yes, we're Indigenous specialists, but we don't just want to work with mob. We
Mm,
actually want to support whole organisations because when we support whole organisations, we create culturally safe spaces,
mm.
and advocate and change.
Change. Yeah, absolutely. So is there anything else that we haven't
Yes.
touched on that you'd like to share? Yes.
Something I'm really
Yeah.
excited about. I know I love what I do, but this one
Yeah.
I'm really excited because I've been up at 3 a.m. and working till 9 p.m., which is a huge day for
Oh
me.
gosh. Yeah.
Like days and days in a row because this is next level.
Yeah.
Okay. So myself and Todd, the fellow from Legacy Counselling and Consultancy that I collaborate with a lot, we've created a First Nations trauma informed practice suite of workshops, and it's
Mm,
specifically designed for health professionals. So people in hospital systems or health services or any of those sort of add-ons, but we can customize it for other industries. But it's a foundational workshop. It's an intermediate workshop and an advanced workshop. And the idea is that the foundational was about working out what's happening to you. How do you respond when you experience other people's trauma responses? What
Mm.
happens inside of you? How do you regulate yourself when you're having difficult
Yeah.
conversations? How do
Mm.
you go through all that? What are your thinking patterns? How are you impacted bringing your own trauma stories into the workplace? So the first one, and it's 3 days. So it's one day and then an integration period with a workbook and resources, and then another one day because we know no one can ever get out for 2 or 3 days in a row.
Mm.
And then another day, which is the intermediate, and then another week or two, and then the last day, which is the advanced. And that's systems change. That's, you know, creating drive and change within your workplace
Mm.
and communities. And it's so exciting. And
Mm.
I've been creating all the resources and then giving them to my VA to also, tidy up and things
Yeah.
like that. And
Make
it's
pretty.
just,
Make pretty. They usually make it pretty.
oh yeah, make it pretty. That's right.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited about that because we know, you know, when people accessing hospital services disengage or avoid going
Mm.
to preventative treatment, like maybe they've got an infection in their leg and they've avoided because they know when they go there they get looked at terribly or they get treated in a certain way, so they avoid going, and then it gets so bad that then they have to be hospitalized. So
Mm.
so that's I'm super excited because I think it can drive change. And what we're trying to do is not just come in and do, 3 days or, 3 weeks or whatever, one, but be there and support. Have a
Mm.
6 month period afterwards where we're providing all this ongoing support, when we're training people within the workplace to then deliver that. So if we step away, that's the
Yeah.
bit I'm so excited about, is
Yeah.
is to
Yeah.
have all these people that are actually driving change within their workplaces,
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
ambassadors. Yeah,
Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, that sounds wonderful.
super
So,
excited.
yeah. So that's going to kick off
On the
when
1st of April, that's not an April
1st of
Fool's joke,
April.
but
1st of April.
next
Is it
week is
Wellness
the.
Month? When's Wellness Month?
Oh, I don't know. How
I
bad is
should look
that?
that up. Yeah, I should look up when Wellness Month is. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure there's a month that's Wellness Month
Well,
where
yes, we've got lots of
there's usually funding around things like that. I know mental
trauma
health
and
is like October and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, well, October is Indigenous Business Month.
that's
Um,
right as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
but yeah, so we've got
yeah.
all of these things that are, and we're trying to create things that help people understand themselves, their workplace, and the people that are accessing their services.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what
I
it's all
love that.
about, isn't it?
Oh, that'll be so good. So good. And it'll be all based around your program, so that's just wonderful.
Absolutely. So, we're looking at the Warida method, and I'll send some stuff if you like on that, and
Yeah.
integrating that, and locating yourself in that space, and that Ngāti Gawanda, that
Mm.
deep listening, all of those things, bringing that into it. And myself and Todd are amazing trainers and facilitators and clinicians, and yeah, can't wait to deliver that one through
Yeah.
Warida.
And medical practitioners, school teachers, there's
Oh
a lot of
yeah,
those on the ground services, emergency services. They all need that
absolutely.
support because they give that support to others. So
Yeah,
they need those tools as well. So that's fantastic. I love it.
absolutely.
Been absolutely wonderful chatting to you as always. Um, and I'm going to say thank you now because we could chat for hours and hours on end.
Absolutely, we can.
We probably will after the chat on some of that secret squirrel stuff. Um, thank thank you for being with us, and I really loved chatting to you. Thank you very much, Bianca. Bye.
Yura, bye.